cross live now to the Vice President of the Asian Century Philippines Strategic Studies Institute, Anna Malandog-Uy. Anna, good to have you on the program with us. The Philippines withdrew from the ICC in 2019. So what I'm wondering is, why is Manila then complying with the court's warrants?
Thank you so much, Rachel, for having me in your program. And actually, that is really the basic question that many Filipinos actually, I think many Filipinos, even more than majority of Filipinos, is asking, why is it that the current government of Marcos Jr. had surrendered a former president to the ICC when in fact the Philippines, as far as we are concerned, is not anymore part of the ICC. So really and substantially speaking, the ICC has no jurisdiction over us, and this is actually being considered by this happening right now, and being our former president being brought to the ICC is actually a blatant assault to our sovereignty as a country. They're interfering in our internal affairs, and one thing that I can tell you, Rachel, our country is not a failed state, and it means that our judiciary, our courts are functioning and very vibrant. And in the ICC, there's such a thing as complementary principle, that the ICC will only to a country if you're a member, if your courts are not functioning anymore. But that is not the case of the Philippines. So basically, this kind of happening is something that is a very sad story for us Filipinos. And I think this is a glaring and a blatant assault to our sovereignty as a country. But even then, the question really also among the minds of Filipinos is, why is it that the Marcos administration has cooperated with the ICC? But of course, this is very much related to domestic politics that is going on in the country. As you can see, politically speaking, there's this ongoing feud between the Marcoses and the Dutertes. And I think the Marcos Jr. administration has weaponized the ICC against the Dutertes.
Duterte called the ICC arrest warrant unjustified because he said his war on drugs restored peace to the nation. What do you make of that argument?
I would say yes, that's really true, because I experienced it as a Filipino. Before Duterte, you cannot walk on the streets of the Philippines, especially in Manila, because you're so afraid that anytime soon you will be attacked by a drug addict who can, kill you or to a greater extent. And also one thing that the international community should know, there was no unsponsored killings coming from the state during his presidency. It was a legitimate police operation. Any country, for that matter, that you want your country to have a peace and order, you want, criminals, drug lords to be driven out of your country or to put them in prison and to assault them. It's a legitimate action coming from the state, and I think our former president was just doing job. So this is really the case of the matter. And as a Filipino, I really experienced it that during the time of President Duterte, our peace and order situation in the whole country and the drug problem was lessened to a greater extent. It was not necessarily eradicated 100%, but to a greater extent, I think the Filipino people were able to enjoy the streets without fear, because we know that we have a president at that time who really cares for our welfare and who is really, really strong in combating criminalities, especially drug problem and the drug lords. So that is really the case. I'm speaking not even, I'm speaking as a Filipino who experienced all of these things during the time of President Duterte. So it's really a really sad event right now, and so many Filipinos in the Philippines right now are on the streets clamoring for our former president to be brought back to the Philippines, because he's already 80 years old as well. He's quite too old.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Vice President of the Asian Century Philippines Strategic Studies Institute, Anna Malandog-Uy. Anna, thank you.
Thank you.